Have you ever sat in a math class staring at the page and it just feels like it's written in a completely different language? You see the symbols, the numbers, but nothing clicks. Well, if you've ever felt that way, trust me, you are not alone. So today, let's finally figure this out.
It's a super common feeling, right? For a long time, people thought math and language were totally separate things in our brains. You know, one side for logic, the other for words and creativity. But what if that's not the full picture?
And that right there is the key. We now know that language is at the absolute heart of learning math. It isn't just about crunching numbers. The real problem, the thing that trips so many of us up, is the words themselves, the specific vocabulary, the phrases, and how we're supposed to read them.
So in this explainer, we're going to break it all down. First, we'll decode math as its own secret language. Then we're going to get a little philosophical and ask a huge question. Was math discovered or invented? After that, we'll dig into why we make mistakes. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with a brand new math mindset for you. Okay, let's dive into section 1, math, the secret language. I want you to start thinking about math not just as a school subject, but as a language that you have to learn to speak fluently.
I mean, think about it. It has all the same parts. It's got vocabulary, numbers, symbols, and all those fancy terms. It's got grammar, those strict rules like the order of operations that you just can't ignore. And this is the big one. It has context, where the meaning of a word can totally flip depending on where you see it.
And this is exactly where things get messy for so many of us. The single biggest challenge is these ambiguous terms, words that mean one thing out in the real world and something completely different and super specific inside a math problem.
Take a homonym like root. You hear that word. Are we talking about the part of a plant? Or are we talking about a square root? Same sound, totally different worlds. It's like pi versus pi. It's a classic linguistic trap that's just waiting to catch you. And then you've got polysemes, which are maybe even trickier. Take the word base. In geometry, it's the bottom of a shape, like a triangle. But in another lesson, it's the foundation of a number system, like base 10. The meanings are related, but they are not the same thing. So how do these words come together to build ideas? Well, think of it this way. A math expression is basically like a noun. The number 5, or 2 plus 3, or even x. They're just objects. They don't make a full statement. But a math sentence, like 3 plus 4 equals 7, that's a complete thought. It makes a claim, and we can actually check if it's true or false, just like saying the sky is blue.
And here's a fun little twist for you. Just like English has synonyms, a single idea in math can have a bunch of different names. Our good friend, the number 5, can also be written as 2 plus 3, or 10 minus 5, or even 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. They all mean the exact same thing. Getting comfortable with this is a huge step towards fluency.
All right, so we've established that math is a language. Now, let's zoom out and ask a much bigger question. Where did this language even come from? This gets us into a massive philosophical debate about what math is. So there are basically two big camps. On one side, you have the Platonic view. This says that math is this collection of eternal, unchanging truths that just exist. They're out there in some perfect realm, and we don't create them, we just discover them. Then, on the other side, you have the Aristotelian view, which says, no, math is a human invention. It's a tool we created to make sense of the world, and it grows and changes as we do.
Now, why should you care about some old philosophical debate? Because which side you lean toward actually changes everything. It affects how we teach math, how you learn it, and even how new math is created. Is school about memorizing eternal facts, or is it about learning how to use a powerful creative tool? See? It really matters.
So I gotta ask you, what do you think? Was something like pi always out there floating in the universe, just waiting for us to find it? Or is it a brilliant concept that humans invented to describe circles? Drop your answer in the comments. I really want to know.
Okay, let's bring it back to something really practical. We've talked about math as a language, we've talked about where it comes from, now let's talk about mistakes. Because once you understand the language of math, you finally understand why we all make them.
Here's the big idea. Math errors are almost never random. They're not just oops moments, they're actually clues. They show you exactly where your thinking went off the rails. And guess what? So often that breakdown happens with the language before a single number even gets crunched.
An educator named Newman laid this out perfectly with a 5-stage process for solving word problems. It's so helpful. You have to read the question, then comprehend it, then transform it into math, then do the calculation, and finally write down the answer.
If you mess up any one of those steps, the whole thing falls apart. And here it is, the surprising truth. We all think math mistakes happen at step 4 with a calculation, but a huge number of errors happen right at the start, in steps 1 and 2. It's a failure to read the words correctly and understand what they actually mean. This is exactly why it feels like a foreign language. We're getting lost in translation from the very first sentence.
Okay, let's put all these pieces together. With all this in mind, we can build a totally new mindset for how we deal with math, whether we're learning it ourselves or trying to help somebody else. Let's do a quick recap of the key takeaways.
First, and most importantly, math is a language, so treat it like one. Pay close attention to the vocabulary. Second, remember that its true nature is up for debate. Is it a rigid set of discovered laws or a flexible, invented tool? Your answer changes how you approach it. And finally, when you or someone else makes a mistake, don't just check the numbers. Check the reading comprehension first. The error probably started with a word. So, as we finish up here, I'm curious. What was the biggest aha moment for you? Was it the idea that math has its own version of nouns and sentences? Or was it realizing that your math errors might actually be language errors?
And I want to leave you with these 2 questions to chew on. After all this, where do you stand? Discovered or invented? And what's your biggest personal struggle with the language of math? Let me know in the comments. Thinking about that might just be the breakthrough you've been looking for. Thanks for hanging out today. Stay curious.